if you guys can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, Ma.
Gosh. Are you kidding me? All this time I've been talking to myself. Apologies. I didn't realize then that I'd gone on mute. But I was saying I'm just gonna share my screen and let me know if you guys can see my screen and whether you can see what I'm sharing. So I'm just about to share. Cool. Are you able to see what I'm sharing? You can just give me a thumbs up if you can, and then I'll just proceed. And please do keep your, you can keep your mics on because this is more a conversation really. It's not me presenting to you guys. It's more about just having a conversation about this specific field within tech, and yeah, me telling myself about you guys and you also telling me about you, but also maybe sharing thoughts on what you guys are particularly interested in, what you guys do, and how you go about doing what you do, so to speak. Again, just let me know when you can see my screen and unmute on your side so we can have a conversation. I'm not getting any response.
Ma, I can't see your screen. Can't see your screen, Ma.
Can't see my screen. Let me stop and then I'll reshare. Just do this. Give me a second. And are you able to see my screen now?
I can still see it.
Still can't see it. Okay. So I'll just tell you about myself in the meantime while I figure out this sharing of the screen. So I'm a UX designer. I work for a company. I'm from South Africa. I work for one of the big banks in South Africa, Absa, which was previously part of the Barclays Group, but they've since almost parted and now just Absa. And so I work as a UX designer in that space. And I work particularly in the home loans acquisition space. So I create and enable for the application of a home loan by creating a system that then enables the staff or the workers of Absa to be able to assist customers to apply then for a home loan product specifically. So that's what I do at the moment. And I work in a space that is comprised of software developers, a product owner, or product manager, as well as business people. So we sort of get the steer from businesses to what is the strategy, what are they wanting to put out in the market, and how they almost want to position themselves in the market. So the project that I'm working on at the moment is one of those projects then that I'm almost assisting the bank then to position themselves strategically and almost really to enable their customers to get a good experience throughout the journey of trying to get a home, because at the end of the day, it's really just enabling a customer to get a home or get a property that they can turn into a home, or they can turn into something that they can get profit from. So that's the space I'm working in. And I've been a UX designer for 8 years now, going on 8 years. I studied software development, and I majored in, I studied IT, actually majored in software development. And a year after, at least during my studies, I applied for an internship at a company called Accenture. And I applied for an internship in software development. So after joined, not long after I joined, I actually got a call from my then managers at another company called Standard Bank, who was also looking to start almost a discipline of user experience design in the banking space specifically. So then I went to join Standard Bank, and joining now as a UX designer. So I then immediately shifted from being a software developer into being a UX designer, and I've since then been doing that. And I've worked mostly in the financial spaces, financial industry space. And it could actually be surprising as to why financial spaces, but I found that actually there was a lot of demand in the financial spaces, at least here in South Africa, for user experience designers or people who wanted to be in tech, but specifically focusing in user experience design, because banks were also wanting really to be more tech-led and to go into the digital space, and to almost not to just rely in the brick and mortar, but also be available in the digital space. And I guess also almost then pioneering and being the leaders in terms of using technology to solve everyday customer problems. So I think then that's why you'd find someone like me in a tech, who's in tech, but specifically in banking, because I guess also then it's why now there's a whole lot of talk about 4IR, or the fourth industrial revolution, because everybody's starting to realize that now digital is where the world is going. But also, I think digital almost being a tool to solve as many of the problems, human problems that we have. But where I work, it's not just about technology or being digital, is also just bringing the humanness into it. How do we come up with technologies, but also knowing that we're coming up with technologies that are for solving human problems? Because I don't think we're trying to solve problems for anything else but ourselves as humans. But how do we as humans think then? And how do we as humans go about this thing called life? And how do we use technology to assist us? It's not that technology must take over, but technology must actually be a sort of a tool that we use to make our lives better. So even in the banking space, there is then a need, which is why then I'm almost working in that space. There is a need to understand who are we, what are these problems, and who are we trying to solve for, instead of the banks just sitting wherever they are and deciding that, no, we're just going to bring about this product, or we're just going to create the solution. And it turns out that actually they've solved the wrong problem, or they solve for the wrong people. So that's where I get in and then assist in terms of understanding what is the problem? Why is this a problem? How do we then solve for this problem? Hi, Gigi. I'm glad you joined.
Hi, I'm so glad you can make it.
Yeah, firstly, I struggled to get into the space because I didn't know how to get into the breakaway rooms. Yeah. Now, my audience, rather my team here, I'm trying to share my screen or to share my little prezzo, but because I was struggling, I just decided to talk through it. But I also invited the team to just pitch in and talk through, because I don't think really it's my talk. It's really about having a conversation and having everybody participate. So I just maybe could use some steer from you as to how do I share my screen and talk through at least one or two of the things that I haven't touched so far.
Okay, so I have to get back to you on that. Like this Zoom event is like new for all of us. So
yeah, okay. No stress, no stress. I'll try again. Let me see if I can. I'll see if I can share.
I'll ask some questions and I'll get back to you.
Okay, no stress. Just also, I've been talking quite a lot. Just wanted to open the floor for my fellow ladies here and any gents. Don't want to leave anybody out, if any, to just invite anybody who has a question or comment to what I've said so far. And yeah, I'll take it from there while I figure out how to share.
I'll be back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anybody got questions or anything you wanna add to what I've just said, or share what you do as well, and if it's UX or UI related.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ma. Good afternoon. My name is Helen.
Hi, Helen.
Yes, I got to see this webinar and all through a friend WhatsApp status. Though I'm not into tech, though I'm into cryptocurrency. So I got to ask a friend about what tech and all this is all about. Yes. So he advised me to go into UI UX. So, but I'm a novice. I don't know how to go about it. So that's why I joined this room. So how do you
Mhm.
think I can get started to learn what UI/UX is all about? Thank you.
No stress. I think for me, the question I would actually pose back to you is, what is your interest and why do you think you want to specifically go into UI and UX?
That's the thing. I got the advice from a friend. I really do not know like other areas of tech. As
Yeah.
I said, I do cryptocurrency. So though he told me to join blockchain, but I didn't find any on the list. So I just decided to join this. I feel he said it's about users experience. So
Uh-huh.
I feel it will be more beneficial to me because I like relating with people. So I don't know, but I feel if I should like hear a little about what the UIUX is about, I'll actually build
Yes.
interest in it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. By the way, there is, if I heard you correctly, you said you're into cryptocurrency and blockchain. There is actually a breakaway room hosted by Mahasin, who's doing a blockchain development. Perhaps maybe you, if you halfway want to join that one, you could. But I think the reason that I asked you why you wanted to go into UI UX specifically, and I think also the person who advised you didn't necessarily explain as to why, because I'm more interested in, do you want to develop, do you want to be in the space of developing platforms that are for blockchain and cryptocurrency? Or are you more wanting to be on the side of selling or being almost an advocate for cryptocurrency? And because if you want to be building platforms, then definitely you can then be in the space that I am in, because then you can almost inform or put almost ensure that the tools that are being put out there are user-centric, they're human-centric. It's not just a platform that's created just for the sake of it, but it's a platform that is actually useful, it's usable, and people actually get to be better at cryptocurrency. So if you are then wanting to get into that space of UI UX because you want to be behind the scenes assisting in creating the platforms that people use, then definitely then this would be a space for you, because then you can be able to almost inform how this platform works, and if they actually do meet the need of the people that are interested in cryptocurrency. But if you are on the other end where you almost want to be either selling or being like the go-to person, then not necessarily then being a UI or UX person. It would be something totally different, if you understand what I'm saying.
Okay, yes, ma. I understand totally what you're talking about. But I feel I have more interest in UI/UX because the person that I actually spoke to is actually into that. So it will be much more easier for me to navigate around with him. So I feel I want to be in the UI/UX space.
Okay. Okay. So then definitely then if you then want to be in the UI UX space, then you would be almost building. So if you could either be building the website or or assisting in building a website or assisting in building an app. So then you definitely then would be in almost the backbone and creating then the interfaces that customers or users of cryptocurrency as well as blockchain are using, you would then be the person that's behind those platforms and how they came about. And at the moment, what do you do? Or are you studying? Are you working?
Yes, I'm a student, an undergraduate, in my
What are you
final year.
studying? And
I'm
what are you
studying
studying?
microbiology.
Oh, okay. So do you want to then transition from microbiology to any more tech-related field of work?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where you are studying, is there any design-related courses where you're studying?
No, it's just computer science.
Okay. Okay. So what have you done for now in terms of trying to transition into the space?
Yeah, that's why I said I'm a novice. That's why I joined this webinar so that I would
Okay.
know how to get started.
Okay. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll post a link here on the chat to it's literally just for you to familiarize yourself. I wouldn't almost advise you to go into any course or anything like that, because I think it's purely firstly for you to really dig deep and understand if this is a space that you want to go into. So I'll put in a link. It's almost a library or something that's all encompassing of the field that I'm in. It talks both to researching, talks about UI design or visual design, as well as UX design, where I'm more in. So I'm more in the UX design space. So I'll share that, I'll post that link, and anybody else who's interested in can just go into that link. And then you can just go through it and work through it and decide then if that is something that you want to go into. Do you want to stop doing microbiology and go into UIUX? And the reason I'm saying is purely because you're saying you're novice. It's not even something you know about as yet. So once you read up about it and understand what it is, I think that's when you can actually really decide or make the decision whether you're going to drop or you're going to perhaps do them in parallel also. Because I think that if there's one thing about this field, there isn't necessarily this notion that you have to have studied for it. People come from very different backgrounds, really. Even this field is made up of many backgrounds. So tech and psychology and other fields like your anthropology. So this is a field where it can be all encompassing, but also you have to decide then if it's something that you want to do for the long run, or it would be something just maybe to do on the side and then eventually transition into. I hope that helps.
Yes, ma. Thank you, ma. I would go through it. Please drop the link, ma.
Okay, great. Anyone else that's got a question or comment? Or anyone else who actually is also in this space that would want to add to what I just said or advised to Helen? Just unmute and go for it.
Okay, so to what Helen said, I think we're on the same page. I'm also a novice, on this UX, UI design.
Yes.
So I was even someone that kind of advised me to go for it. So I don't really know what it is all about. That was why I joined this space.
Okay.
So hoping you might maybe you can recommend books or something.
The link that I'm going to drop is definitely one it's got everything. It's got everything. Just let me know. when you can see it. Okay. I'm trying to post, but not sure what's happening. Let's just close that. Everyone, okay. Let's just see. Okay. I've just dropped the link. Just let me know. That is almost my go-to link, really, for myself to upskill, but also for people like yourself. If I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Ifeluwa, as well as Helen. Yes. So that's like my go-to link. It's good. I'd say it's actually good for across the spectrum, novice, intermediate, and also experts in the field, because I don't think you really even ever get to ultimate expert. There's learning every day. So it's a resource that I almost share with everyone to just get to know what the field is about, but also if you need to polish up on any skills, there's a lot of resources available there. But also if you are just wanting to upskill on something that you feel you need to know more about, there's that as well that is available for to do that. Anyone else? I know Gift said she's managed to fix my sharing, but it's still not. There was one specific slide that I wanted to show you. Let me try again. See if this sharing works. And please let me know. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Think we should be good to go now. You guys able to see my screen now?
Yes, I can see your screen now.
Okay, great. There we go. So this literally was just the first slide was just introductions, which I think I've covered. The one thing that I just didn't mention was I love cooking, and I'm married with 3 kids. Between my husband and myself, we have 3 kids, 2 boys and a little girl. Yeah, I'm a UX designer, and my details are right there in the bottom left corner if you want to get hold of me. And then just to give almost an indication of what I do, I just put up this slide. So like I mentioned earlier, I studied IT and majored in software development. And then as a start to my career, I joined Accenture as a software development. But not long after, I was actually poached by my then manager to come and join Standard Bank as a UX designer. I joined because I actually was particularly interested in the field. It was something new at the time for me, just like it is for you guys, Helen. So I wanted to join and I wanted to know what it was about. But I was also fortunate in that when I did my degree in IT, I had done a sort of an introductory module into the space. It wasn't even in a major. It was just one of those, if you wanted to drop one major, you could do something else. So I at the time I dropped what was the course now? I think it was artificial intelligence. I dropped that. because I wanted to know more about this UX. So I did that. It was for a very short time though, but I was fortunate then because at the time, the professor who was doing it was quite well known, and she was an advisor to most companies that wanted to have a discipline, this kind of discipline in their organization. So she had also actually been an advisor at Standard Bank, and she then was almost a go-to person for students or for people that were interested in the field. And she then had put my name forward as well to say, I had one of these students who I think would do quite well in this field and who showed quite a huge interest in it. So get hold of her and see what she thinks. And yeah, short story, they got hold of me and I joined, and I've been doing it since then. But what is actually this space? What is it about? So as a UX person or somebody who is particularly a UXer, you'll see I've highlighted the block in yellow is what I actually get involved in a lot. And the one that I've not highlighted is more the UI. So UI is more visual design and what other people would refer to as graphic design. But I think in our space, it goes beyond just graphic design. It really has to be well thought of, and it has to talk to the needs of the user that we're trying to solve the problem for, but also talks to the brand of the company, the voice and language of the company. So many things go into it. But the one that I specifically focus on is this one where we make sure to understand what is the problem that we're solving for, who, what, how, when, and how or why, as well as then understanding what is the strategy that the business is going for, what is the objectives for this solution that we're trying to put into the market. What are the functional specifications? How do we talk to our users, or how do we engage our users? So what does the interaction look like, and what is the information architecture about? So information architecture in simple terms is literally about, if I'm on a website, how do I navigate? How do I go about finding what I'm looking for? How do we make it such that it's easy for anybody who comes in to know, if I click on a menu, what will I find? Or is there a menu? What does this menu do? Is it intuitive enough? Do I understand just by looking at the words and looking at how it's being presented, what this thing does? And yeah, all the way to there on your left, the skeleton. This is where from strategy all the way to the skeleton is where then I focus on, because it talks to how is this thing going to work? Who is it for? What is the business interest, and what is the strategy, and how does the business foresee making money, but how is then the overall experience of the user as well as the customer? And then in the end, we'll have then your visual or UI designer get involved into determining how does it look, what is the typography that we're using, the language that we're using, what does it look like, what are the graphics that we are going to use in line with the brand of the company as well, if it's a company. So yeah, this is what I was wanting to bring forth, and to just create also an understanding of, if you were then to be in this type of space, and if you are in this space, and if there's anything that I've left behind, also just chip in. But if you are in the space, this is what you would typically be doing. It's a whole lot of research. It's a whole lot of empathy as well. I think that's a big theme in what we do. We empathize more for people and for the technologies that are being created, how do we always ensure that they are human-centered and we don't create a solution or technology solution, even physical solutions like products? How do we create it such that it's human-centered? It doesn't veer away or rear away from the fact that it has to meet the need, or it has to make sure that it solves the problem for this specific target of humans or the specific grouping of humans. So yeah, and then the other slide, I don't know for some reason. Okay, there we go. I think for myself, being a woman in this field specifically, and also being a mom, I've just found it that it's a space that's moving very rapidly. So being away for 4 months, at least here in South Africa, maternity leave is for 4 months. You find that when you come back, a whole lot has happened in your absence, because it's a fast-paced industry, and things are consistently changing, things are consistently getting better. So you always almost have to keep abreast. So it was challenging at first, and I found that I was progressing a lot slower than my peers, another women as well, who are not necessarily having to be away from that long. So it's just been my personal challenge. I don't necessarily think it's every woman's challenge, but it has been my personal challenge as a woman who's a mother, who's working in the tech space, that it's not as friendly to women who are also managing work life and being a parent. So you almost have to work as hard and be as more fast-paced as well when you come back, because that's how quickly the world would have moved on. And then the last slide that I wanted to share with you, for anybody really that's wanting to come into the spaces, you have to be very curious and you have to be very passionate about solving problems, because this space is really about solving problems. It's about almost finding it's bridging the gap between technology and people and humans. You have to be the conduit between those, and it's a lot about research, doing free work. Really, if you are hi, is anybody
Hi. I'm back again. So it's time for the panel session.
Okay.
Everyone's supposed to join the main session again for the panel.
Okay, great. Just wrapping up in 5 seconds. Yeah, so I've just put up these, and there's meetups, there's conferences, there's talks, there's TED Talks, there's YouTube. So yeah, please just be a friend to Google. Like Google is your friend as well. Google, learn as much, and I've already dropped the link in the chat. Go there. And yeah, can also find me on LinkedIn if you want to talk more, and if you want to connect to perhaps any of the groups that I'm connected in. But also in LinkedIn, you find a lot of other UX groups that talk a lot about this space and what we do almost on a daily basis. But yeah, thank you so much for joining, and apologies I joined later. Like I was explaining, it wasn't very clear how to join these breakaway rooms. But thank you very much, and good luck to everybody. I hope if it's an industry that you go into, it's one that you will enjoy and that you will grow in. And it's yeah. Thank you so much, and yeah, chat later if you are keen. And that is me. I think we should be now going back to the other rooms. See you in the next room, in the main conference room. Thank you so much for joining.